Hi, welcome to my fourth Java Basic tutorial. We're going to learn about the if-else conditional statements. So, what is conditional statements? It's just a way for computers to make decisions based on conditions. Okay, so how does if-else statements work? Well, in Java, the if-else statements is a control flow statement that allows you to execute a block of code only if a certain condition is met. So, for example, like if the Boolean expression evaluates to true, then the if block will be executed. Otherwise, the else block will be executed. Okay, so let's look at the example. It will give you a better idea. So let's get started. Okay, so first let's initialize the variable that we're going to use for the condition. So let's say int a equals 5. Actually, the variable name can be anything. And now we're going to be writing the first if statement. So in order for us to make an if statement, we should write if, and a parenthesis, and a braces. And inside this parenthesis, we need to set the condition. So let's say a double equals 5. And you might have wondered, what is that double equal signs? And actually that is known as a is equal to. And it's a relational operator, and this symbol is typically used for comparing two values. So we're going to be comparing the variable a with this integer 5. And as you can see, this variable contains the value of 5, which means that 5 equals 5. So it's true, right? So since it's true, the statement will execute what's in this block. So let's say system.out.println and say this statement, or I should say this condition is true. And let's run it. Okay, as you can see, it says this condition is true. So since this condition was true, it displayed this text. So what if I change it to, for example, like 10? Now the variable 5, well, the variable which contains 5 is not equal to the integer 10. It's going to be false, right? So now if I run it again, I assume that it's not going to be showing. Since it's false, the statement won't execute anything in that block. Okay, so now I want to show you how to write the else statement. So like as you saw right now, if the condition in the if statement is not true, the else statement will be executed. But since we don't have the else statement, it didn't actually execute anything. So now we're gonna put a space and add else. Then after that, we're gonna be adding this braces again. And let's copy this. And say this condition is false. And run it again. And now it actually showed this condition is false. Why? Because this if condition wasn't true. Because a, which is 5, is not equal to 10. That's why it skipped this if block and executed the block of code that's in here, which is this condition is false. So next, we're going to be moving on to comparison operators. I've written some comments below, but there are multiple comparison operators that we can use for the condition. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so let's start testing other comparison operators. So first I'll cut this code and paste it down here. So we're going to be trying out this not equal to operator, which is this exclamation mark and this equals. So what it's saying is A not equal to 10? And as you might remember, A has a value of 5, so it's not equal to 10, right? Therefore, this statement will be true. That means it's going to display the block of code inside here. So let's execute it and see what we get. This condition is true, right? So moving on to the next, we're gonna be testing, is this greater than operator? And the symbol would be this. So the condition is A greater than 10? Unfortunately, 5 is not greater than 10. Therefore, it's going to display this condition is false. So let's run it and see. Yup, as expected. So moving on to the next. Now we're going to test the operator is less than. So we're going to use this symbol. So this condition is saying, is A less than 10? Yes, 5 is less than 10, therefore it's true. So let's run and see the result. As you can see, this condition is true. Moving on to the next. Now we're going to use is greater than or equal to operator, which is this symbol. So what we are saying is A greater than 10 or equal to 10? But 5 is not greater than 10 and is not equal to 10. Therefore, it's going to be false. So let's run it. Yeah. So for example, like if you want this condition to be true, what we can probably do is change this 10 to 5. Then it's going to be equal to 5, right? So if we run it, it's going to be true. Or if we will change the value to 4, since 5 is greater than 4, it's going to also be true. Yeah, as you can see, it's true. So now moving on to the next, we're going to be using this is less than or equal to. So do you think 5 is less or equal to 4? Unfortunately, this condition is going to be false because 5 is greater than 4, right? So let's see. This condition is false. So I think that's about it. So we've covered the basic operators. So yeah, I think that's about it for now. So thank you for watching my video until the end, and have a nice day.